Yesterday afternoon. Today, of course, was just arraignment where we were able to, of course, answer to the charges of obstruction of traffic, and as you heard, everyone, of course, not guilty or innocent of the charges. So that's really. So we just set our pre-conference trial date, I guess, in about 6 weeks, and then we'll begin, I guess, the real process heading towards trial eventually. I think what you'll find with we have a multiplicity of strategies, I think, going on. Everyone, in fact, who got arrested, I think, really didn't get arrested together, and so many of us have different reasons, in fact, they're arrested. In fact, you see some of the films, you'll see actually some of the people who were arrested really should not have been arrested in the first place. I mean, some were actually walking away when they were grabbed and taken into custody. Others, in fact, you'll find actually chose to make a stand, and so, depending on the reasoning or depending on the actual event, the kinds of defenses we'll be having will be from various natures. Yeah. We just set up a gathering, a ceremony to provide us with the best blessings and the best guidance from our akua and our ancestors to lead us down the best path, so we can do whatever is necessary as protectors of this place, to do whatever is necessary to protect Mauna Kea. Well, I think to best express the idea of aloha aina for us who have the ability to speak Hawaiian, even with the miseducation and genocidal, ethnocidal practices of the state of Hawaii themselves in the past, through the educational system. I'm probably one of the few percentages of Hawaiians that still have the ability to defend ourselves in the Hawaiian language. So we actually have a kuleana responsibility to make sure that we enable ourselves with the best tools to defend and protect ourselves. So I think the best way to express the ideas of aloha aina o ia'i'o as the kanaka maoli is through our olelo makuahine. Fluent enough to defend myself, fluent enough to express myself as best I can in regards to the ideal of aloha aina, in regards to understanding our history, understanding our culture, understanding concepts in which we hopefully will be able to share and defend ourselves at the best that we can. And so, I look at also that it's really the court's responsibility, not my responsibility, but it's the court's responsibility that if they're going to prosecute me or persecute me, that they must be responsible. If a translator is needed, that they must be responsible to get a translator.
How old are you, Mr. Kale?
Kanaha? Kumaiva.
49?
Aye. I think what you'll find, this is just the beginning. I think what you'll find more and more with more and more Hawaiians, in fact, especially in this particular issue, will be defending themselves in the Hawaiian language. It is a human right for our people to speak our language in our own homeland, defending our cultural sites here in Hawaii. And so there's really no reason why I shouldn't be provided the opportunity to speak my own language in my own homeland. And so that is something I think the state of Hawaii will have to figure out.
Have you taken any drugs, medication, or alcohol in the last 2 days?
Alcohol.
How long ago?
Umi kumalua hola. Umi kumalua hola. 12 hours. It's like, my whole thing is, I think what you find, the state of Hawaii will find that, our people are getting a lot more educated, a lot more fearless in regards to speaking the truth. It's really about the truth, and it's really about our own humanity. This whole issue is about whether or not we as Hawaiians in our own homeland have a right to determine for ourselves our sacred spaces and cultural significant sites and what should be done or not be done in our places. So Mauna Kea to me is a great example of this. As the highest mountain in these islands, as one of the most sacred spots in the Hawaiian Islands, we have a human right to defend and protect and to determine what should happen upon that mountain. It should not be determined by, Caltech or the Moore Foundation or astronomers from India and Japan, or the United States to define and decide for us what should happen upon that mountain. And so to me, it's really a question of human rights. And as I've been saying, either we are human and we're afforded these rights, or we're being treated as inhuman and being denied these rights. So fundamentally, that's what the question I think is going to be put to the prosecutors and the state of Hawaii. Should Hawaiians be recognized and afforded human rights as a people? Because all peoples have sacred lands, all peoples have language and history. And we know this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of a long a long struggle. And in fact, if you look at our planning and organizing on that event on that day on the 24th, our hope was for no one to get arrested. In fact, we weren't even planning for anyone to be arrested upon that day. It happened that some of us were arrested, but that was not in the plans. And so I would say that at some point, when we do organize arrests as a defensive tactic, you won't be 11 or 12 people. On that day, in fact, I gotta say honestly, on that day, I actually had to talk to many of the kupuna on that day earlier and had told them, no, we're not trying to get arrested today. Kupuna had come up there specifically to get arrested. So, this is something I think the state of Hawaii will have to deal with in the future. And I don't know what they're gonna show to the world, demonstrate to the world, if they're gonna come in armed guards, whether it's the more marshals or whether it's gonna be the National Guard to come and arrest our own kupuna on our own sacred mountain, defending their own place and space. And so, that's something I think the state of Hawaii will have to think about and really consider what they want the world to see, what's happening here. I don't want the state to move forward at all in regards to protecting the interests of the foreign investors. That's really what the state's role in all of this is, really about protecting the interests of the foreign investors in regards to the industrialization of Mauna Kea. However, sadly, the state of Hawaii doesn't look to its own people who've been here for 2,000 years. They take our tax monies, and yet they refrain or refuse to recognize our own human rights in our own lands. And that's a choice I think that, unfortunately, I think that's a big mistake that Ige and the rest of the state of Hawaii is making right now. Because this is a legacy. They may think they're winning the battle today, perhaps. But I think the long one, 20, 25, 30 years from now, they'll look back at this time. People like Ige will be like Governor Wallace back in Alabama. This is history. This is a time of moment. People are unwilling to be oppressed and manipulated anymore. We're going to look for a better Hawaii, where people in Hawaii get to determine for ourselves the future for Hawaii, and not be manipulated by foreign investors.